Now it seems like almost every single step of Charlie Kirk's tour, there were a bevy of Groypers waiting in the wings to spit their vitriol at him. They come primarily from Nick Fuentes, right?
Yeah, yes. And so he is like this, I think he could be said to be like the one person, like the alt-right media figure that has like gone through the gauntlet of like the 2016 and post-2016 cancellations, because he has a brand that basically it can be Nazi-like, and he still has an audience that is dedicated to him.
Yeah.
So he's basically, I think, one of the most influential of like far-right U.S. he's definitely more than a micro celebrity, but he's like not quite like a full celebrity because he's still like really young and like internet like Zoomer basically.
Yeah, like Spencer is like really out of the picture now.
Spencer's done. Spencer's old news. He's fat as shit. He looks like a fucking Groyper.
Yeah, all the Zoomers hate him.
Yeah, Spencer looks like a Groyper, but he's like, I think he's like anti-Groypers, or he's like a jaded cynic about it. So Spencer's out of the loop. It's a different generation of people, and there's people like Patrick Casey, who is in charge of the American Identity movement, which is the successor to Identity Europa or Yevropa.
Oh yeah.
And so they're like the Groypers too. I mean, they're all connected with the Nick Fuentes. Like they're the Nick Fuentes audience, and
so Fuentes hosts a show called America First Radio or something, right? They're like just America First, something, and that is his whole brand seems to me to be like he wears a tie, he sits there, he's very smarmy or whatever, and it's like enough plausible deniability because he's not like Sieg Heiling or whatever, that like he can just claim to be. Their whole thing is that they're nationalists who are just asking questions, right? And one of the questions they were very focused on asking Charlie Kirk was a question about the USS Liberty, which, as many of you know, I and my countrymen in Israel famously bombed in I can't remember what it was, like the 80s.
No, it was like 67.
67. Okay.
68?
Summer of Love.
Wasn't it?
I don't know. It was around then. I don't give a fuck because it involves both sides that I hate. But yeah, so they kept asking these sort of questions about Israel and
the dancing Israelis.
The dancing Israelis. Well, there are some questions.
Yeah, I have some questions.
But just kidding. But yeah, so they were very focused. Like, what were they trying to prove with asking these questions to Charlie Kirk?
Well, I think that they were trying to show that Charlie Kirk is not like loyal to America above other countries, and Israel is like this fundamental point of tension with the like normie conservatives, of which Charlie Kirk is like the prime example, because like they still toe the neocon line of like basically is like interventionist, militaristic, and very pro-Israel. And I think that, well, first of all, there's like the anti-Semitic angle, but I think that is actually like, if you reduce it to simply that, it like misses the point, because a lot of them are Jewish themselves, or like have are not actually like have personal relationships with Jewish people just because they're like so integrated with just middle class America.
Yeah.
So like so they're actually like completely favorable to the militarism of Israel and like admire it, kind of like how BAP does in like this, in the sense that like the Israelis are strong and like they like that because that's like what their politics is about identifying with that at the end of the day. But but at the same time, like they were trying to prove that like Charlie Kirk is completely unprepared to actually deal with real conservatives, so to speak, or like quote unquote real conservatives that they represent, and like the and that his views are basically synonymous with this like mainstream Malays liberal consensus, and that like it's for like gay rights and like the Jews that rule over us, and they're like virtually indistinguishable from the Democrats or whatnot.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of the same thing that when like there was like that clip going around of when Tucker Carlson was in a debate with Charlie Kirk. And he was like taking him to task on those same kind of like not the USS Liberty, but the kind of like him still representing that the kind of like failed consensus of the right that's been the line for like the past 40, 50 years basically.
Yeah, the George W. Bush sort of thing, and it's noticeable that there are all these figures. I mean, Carlson, sort of the most representative of them, who are sort of trying to break out of that consensus, which we don't really want them to do because it's a better idea for them to break out of that consensus rather than to stay in it.
Yes, because I mean, then they're like a step ahead basically, and that's not good.
No.
Well, I mean, also I think that even though someone like Nick Fuentes is not really that intellectual, he is sort of in the right place at the right time, where there's like this antagonism that's playing out, and he represents like a more internally coherent idea than that of like the Charlie Kirk TPUSA people, because I think that they sort of encounter the like hollowness of their identification with what they're actually talking about. For like Charlie Kirk doesn't actually want to be defending the things that he is.
Yeah.